For the United States, economic strength isn't measured just in Silicon Valley innovation, it's measured in cargo containers. Over 90% of America's trade everything from cars and electronics to industrial chemicals and critical medical supplies moves through a handful of massive high-tech ports. These ports are the nation's economic arteries, and they are wide open to foreign acquisition. We're not talking about military bases. We're talking about commercial real estate where the financial rules of globalization allow hostile foreign states to buy a direct piece of American sovereignty. This is the ultimate long-game strategy in geopolitical warfare. The threat isn't a missile strike, it's a signed contract. The hypothetical is terrifyingly plausible. A major backed Chinese shipping conglomerate or infrastructure fund through a maze of shell corporations and financial maneuvering acquires majority operational control of a strategically vital U.S. commercial port, say the Port of Long Beach or a key Gulf Coast hub. This isn't just a business deal, it's an act of geopolitical encirclement. The initial acquisition goes unnoticed by the public, framed as a win for efficiency and global investment. But in the hidden corners of the national security apparatus, the alarm bells are deafening. The Chinese state now has direct, legitimate access to the logistical choke point of the entire American economy. They control the flow of goods, the terminal operating systems, the manifest data, and the sensitive technology used for container scanning and tracking. The immediate question is not about profit. It's about the data. What intelligence is being collected on every single shipment entering and leaving the US? And more chillingly, what military supplies or technological secrets are now being exposed? The national security crisis begins not with an invasion, but with a series of quiet, targeted disruptions. As the Chinese-controlled port takes over, the new management implements subtle changes. Critical containers are deliberately slowed down. Shipments bound for U.S. military bases, everything from food to specialized parts for Navy vessels, experience unexplainable delays and customs complications. China gains the ability to profile, track, and potentially tamper with U.S. defense logistics without ever crossing the threshold of a military base. The crisis escalates during a time of international tension, perhaps over Taiwan or a conflict in the South China Sea. The Chinese-controlled port suddenly experiences a system malfunction or an unscheduled labor action. The port shuts down completely. Given its vital role, the shutdown instantly paralyzes not just the regional economy, but the entire U.S. supply chain, costing billions per day and preventing the rapid mobilization of necessary supplies. The U.S. military finds its ability to deploy overseas crippled not by an enemy submarine, but by a boardroom decision made 7,000 miles away. The chaos in Washington is total. The political establishment is paralyzed by its own legal structure. They cannot simply seize the port. It is private property legally acquired under international commerce laws. This is the red zone dilemma. The US must either condemn its own globalization policies and launch a massive legally complex and potentially illegal, or forced divestiture, or allow a hostile power to maintain a strategic chokehold on its territory during a national crisis. The economic weapon has achieved a level of control over US sovereignty that was previously unthinkable. The crisis over the foreign-controlled port forces a permanent and painful reckoning in the United States. The initial stabilization efforts are costly. The US government is compelled to either negotiate a painful buyback at an inflated price or enact emergency powers to temporarily seize the property, triggering massive international legal challenges and diplomatic fallout. With every nation that invests in US infrastructure, the long-term consequence is the death of economic naivete. The US is forced to abandon the pretense that money is money regardless of its source. Congress passes sweeping restrictive legislation that dramatically tightens foreign investment rules, establishing a rigid, new security standard for all critical infrastructure ports, data centers, airports, and energy facilities. This marks the end of cheap, easy foreign capital in crucial American sectors. The geopolitical price is immense. China has successfully exposed the Achilles heel of the American system, the belief that the free market would always protect national security. The world watches as the US struggles to reclaim its sovereignty, providing a clear blueprint for other nations to follow suit, using commercial investments as strategic weapons. The final lesson of the port acquisition war is that globalization has a security price. And in the 21st century, the fight for sovereignty isn't about defending borders. It's about defending the integrity of the supply chain that crosses them.